My French is very good. He did his undergrad studies at Ternopil National Medical University in Ternopil, Ukraine. Dr. Bangura did his internship at Kunat Hospital, Cottage Hospital, and Ola during Children Hospital, and 34 Military Hospital as a civilian doctor from 2018 to 2022, before he traveled to Malawi at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital to start his training. Um, we met Dr. Bangura, Dr. Sengu Han, and I, Dr. Sengu Han, who is a board member of Mission Brain and a faculty at Stanford. We went to Freetown, Sierra Leone about 2 years ago and met Dr. Bangura there, who was extremely motivated to become a neurosurgeon and to provide much needed neurosurgical care that was not available in Sierra Leone. For many of you that are aware, Sierra Leone is a country of 8 million people without a single neurosurgeon, and Mission Brain is currently engaged in a long-term project of capacity building for neurosurgery. Last month, we were there to launch the first neurosurgical service in Sierra Leone with the Ministry of Health and the University of Sierra Leone teaching hospitals. Dr. Bangura also has a partner in Dr. Aliu Kamara, who is an orthopedic surgeon who did a year and a half training in Rabat, Morocco, in the same training program that Dr. Bangura is in right now, and also a Mission Brain scholar. And Dr. Kamara finished his training in December of last year and started doing surgeries. It's quite remarkable. One of the best things that I saw there was the emergency department board that used to have no neurosurgical team reflected on it. And when we were there were 5 patients who were designated for the first neurosurgery team that could be said in the country at Kunat Hospital. Um, we've brought over some equipment and instruments and continued the training and mentorship with Dr. Kamara and 24 neuro nurses, also the first in their country to be able to have that training. I'm sharing this amazing story. One of the patients that we had was this 30-something-year-old young man who had climbed up a palm tree. His livelihood was a palm nut harvester. He was the sole provider of 9 people in his family. He built this mud hut all by himself and the help of his elderly uncle when he was a teenager, and he's supporting his 2 young daughters, his sister, his widowed mother, and also his elderly uncle and aunt. So this young man had climbed up the palm tree at 6 a.m. in the morning, had hiked up 2 miles up the mountain, and then he fell, lost consciousness. And then when he came to, he sent a text message to his uncle, who went looking for him, climbed up the mountain another 2 miles, and then carried him on his back down the mountain so this young man could then end up going to Kunat Hospital on a long, bumpy ride to the city. Um, he had lost strength and motion in both of his legs, and it was going to deteriorate really quickly from a lumbar fracture. Dr. Kamara and Dr. Han and Dr. Vaca operated on him, and now he's regained most of his strength and movement on his legs. He would otherwise have been subjected to a lifetime of disability, not being able to walk and not being able to provide for his family. And now, having said that, told you that long story, and I apologize. Now, Dr. Bangura is going to be continuing in that work, and I'd like to give the floor to him. So welcome, everyone. I hope I'm looking forward to hearing from Dr. Bangura.
Okay.
Peter?
Yes. Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening to everyone. I'm Dr. Peter Abel Bangura. I'm here to present on the topic building neurosurgery capacity in Sierra Leone. And the topic of the discussion is a brief history of Sierra Leone my journey, how it started from Sierra Leone to Malawi, from Malawi to Rabat, challenges and limitations in Rabat. Yeah.
Bangura?
Sierra Leone is a tiny small country located in the west part of Africa, along the Atlantic Ocean. Along the Atlantic Ocean, we border with only two countries: Guinea, which is a francophone in the north, and in the southwest, there is Liberia, which is an English-speaking country. Sierra Leone has a population of about 8 million, according to 2015 census. Sierra Leone, the name Sierra Leone is derived from a Portuguese word that means lion mountain. The first Portuguese, yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off for just a sec. I don't think we're seeing your slides. Did you want to share your slides?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do.
If you want to just email them to me, I can share them. So then it'll be better
Okay.
internet
That would be
connection.
good. Let me just email them to you.
Yeah.
Sorry for the distance.
And I don't know if you can also share your screen. I mean, share turn on your video. Oh, there you go. Wonderful. Yeah. So send the PowerPoint to Brooke so she can present it for you, and you don't have to use a lot of bandwidth for that.
Exactly. West. This one. I'm sending it now. I don't know what is wrong with this.
Yeah, you can just keep talking about your presentation. I think Brooke can catch up with your.
Okay, that would be good.
Okay.
So so as I was saying, Sierra Leone is located in the west part of Africa, along the Atlantic Ocean. We are a tiny country with a lot of mineral resources. We border with only two countries: Guinea, and in the north, a francophone country, and Liberia in the southwest, which is an Anglophone country. The name Sierra Leone is derived from the Portuguese word meaning lion mountain. Yeah, the name was given in 1462 by Pedro da Sintra, the first Portuguese that arrived in the country. Sierra Leone is a diverse country with a lot of religious tolerance. With a lot of religious tolerance, we do a lot of intermarriages. So Sierra Leone has an ethnic group of 18 ethnic groups. The largest of the ethnic groups is Timni, which is 35.5 mostly occupy in the north part of the country. The second is the Mende, which is 33.2, mostly occupy in the southwest, and one of the least ethnic groups in the country, but is the most popular ethnic groups is the Creoles. They are the Creoles. They are the descendant of the free slaves from America, Europe, from the different parts of the world. They brought them in Sierra Leone as a land of freedom. Okay. Then the healthcare system of Sierra Leone has suffered immensely. It started during the 11 years Rebel War. 11 years Rebel War that destroyed a lot of hospitals and forced a lot of health care workers to seek refuge in the neighboring countries. Post-Civil War healthcare recovery, Sierra Leone was ranked as one of the worst in the world in terms of healthcare delivery. There was a high mortality rate in the country. People were having difficulty to seek medical attention due to certain factors. Then the post-Civil War recovery plan, or one of the plan, was the government engaged massively in developing the health system. In 2014, the government introduced the free health care to lactating women, pregnant women, and under 5 children, that drastically reduce the infant and maternal mortality rate. And also the government then embarked on an infrastructure, building a lot of hospitals, and hospitals from different parts of the world. In 2019, the government, through the Ministry of Health, launched a midterm development program to fill in the most needed, and also to help train doctors and partners with international partners to develop the health system. Okay, and that is a brief history of my Sierra Leone. So the next topic is how it started. My journey to neurosurgery started at my junior high school. Unlike other doctors that normally make their decision during the medical school, mine was born prior to the. Hello?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So mine was prior to the medical school. Doing various visits to my mother at then at the government hospital in the north part of during which I saw a lot of dying patients, a lot of patients, abandoned patients. So there was a child with a very big head that was abandoned. So I asked my mother, why is this child abandoned? Her response was, we don't know. The people said is a witch. That's why they abandoned. I said, okay. As a young child, I was very curious to know. So I started researching and reading until I came across a book called Gifted and written by Dr. Ben Carson. So I read through the book and I did a research about him, the work he had done, especially as a pediatric neurosurgeon managing hydrocephalus. So then he became my invisible mentor. Why I chose neurosurgery? I chose neurosurgery. I chose neurosurgery because it's my passion to serve my country and the many dying patients that have left to die for the past years due to some beliefs, and to educate the country and the people at large that most of the condition are attributed to witches and the secret societies. They are just simple and treatable and preventable in neurosurgery conditions that can manage. My work in Sierra Leone from 2016 to 2020. I did my undergraduate studies at Tanopi State Medical University in Ukraine in 2010 to 2016. I returned home with the high hopes of doing my neurosurgery specialty as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Yeah, as soon as possible. Few months into my internship, discussing and sharing with friends and others about my interest into the neurosurgery. About my interest into the neurosurgery was not somehow good, because this, according to them, they said doing neurosurgery to practice in Sierra Leone is not feasible, as a lot of patients can't afford the service. The service is very expensive, and even some patients to do a simple CT scan is difficult. But I was so passionate and impressed that there should be somebody to pay the price and lead the bedwork so that other doctors could work on. After I completed my internship for 2 years, I engaged on researching and sending a lot of applications to universities and training centers. Some I got acceptance, some they rejected me, but I could not further because of due to some financial constraint. So how it started? No, and at the start of a new day, and at the peak of COVID-19, mostly around 2020, I was working at the military hospital when I was called by the commanding officer that John Hopkins is who wants to partner with us to start a pilot telemedicine program. So if you are interested, you will lead you will lead the program, but you have to be at the hospital earlier. Then the program used to start at around 6 a.m. in my country. So I have to leave my house at around 5:30 to do the presentation. So at the ending of the presentation, Professor John B. Sampson asked me during our conversation and said, "What is your area of interest?" I said neurosurgery. So he was so impressed and said, "There is no neurosurgeon in your country and Guinea. We just finished training one neurosurgeon in Liberia. I will talk to him and give you his contact. So maybe he might be able to help you and to get to some scholarship and some centers." So I started communicating with Dr. Doe. From Dr. Doe, I got a lot of contact with some neurosurgeons along the sub-region, especially Dr. Jabanks. Sometimes when I have a neurosurgery case, I will call them. I will consult them online. They will tell me how to do, how to manage the case, and when to refer the case, and when there is a medical outreach, they will call me to go and present the case or the cases. So my experience at John F. Kennedy Hospital, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. My first trip to Liberia was to join a team of neurosurgeons from different parts of the world that normally come to Liberia to do free neurosurgery every year. During my volunteer, I was given the opportunity to represent some cases I went with. I presented the cases, and 4 cases we are accepted to be operated. So I went back in Sierra Leone to bring the cases, and one of the most outstanding case that everybody was keen, and almost all the doctors who wanted to operate was this 14-year-old boy. He was born in one of the villages in the north part of the country. He had a huge occipital meningocele. So the family and the boy had to run away from the village. They accused them of being witch and wizard, and sometimes they will stone the boy. They will stone the boy. They said he's a witch. I got in contact with the boy through the social media. So I went with the boy. They plan to do a total but intraoperatively, the boy had a lot of complications. So his surgery was staged. The surgery was staged. So we went back home in Sierra Leone. I managed all the patients they operated until when I left the country 2022, that they said the boy had died due to some complication because he went back to the village. So as you can see, the many cases that have benefited from the cost-free Libya, and also my zeal and my passion to serve humanity, especially the most needed in my country. All the cases that have benefited from this, from the surgeries, can't afford to be flown out of the country. So my second visit to Monrovia was the time I met Dr. Fatou Conte. So she sponsored the travel to Monrovia. We went. She presented the cases we went with, and then after some days we returned. So prior to leaving the country in 2022, around November, I was awarded a prize in the country as the best doctor, not only from I was awarded the prize due to my willingness to serve and to serve especially patients that have been neglected, and some of them are to sponsor them to go to Monrovia for surgery. And in 2020, I was awarded as the second best doctor at the military hospital for my service in the country. So Queen Elizabeth, my trip to Queen Elizabeth, my last trip to Monrovia, we met Professor Magnus Thyssen, is a Swedish neurosurgeon. We had a lengthy discussion with him to explore the possibility of securing a scholarship and a training center. After a lengthy discussion, he was so happy and he was so moved and passionate that Sierra Leone, with a population of 8 million, has no neurosurgeon. So he linked me with Professor Patrick at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital. So I got offered Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital a week after I sent my document. In July, I wrote to the Ministry of Health for scholarship, and they were so impressed. They were so moved that the government is looking to diversify the medical field, especially in those critical areas such as neurosurgery. But the problem now, the government has no funding. The government hasn't received funding to help train doctors out of the country. So they promised me that when there is funding, I will be the priority to be awarded or the stipend. So I left. I went to Malawi. I was there at Malawi after 5 months into my training. Yeah, I was called by Dr. Fatou Conte that there is an opportunity in Sierra Leone that the government and the teaching hospital complex, I've got a scholarship to train in neurosurgeon. But if I'm willing to relocate, I can then I can apply. So I applied, and I was selected to be trained in Rabat. I left Sierra Leone to Rabat in June 2020. Okay. In June 2020. So upon arriving at Rabat, upon arriving at Rabat without knowing the normal process, we went to the hospital and they told us we have to go to AMSI. That's the first challenge. We have to go to an agency called Morocco Agency for International Cooperation. We are all students. All students go to AMSI. So we went there, Kamara and I, we went there. And AMSI informed us that they don't accept applications from individuals. All applications should be either from the embassy or from our embassy. So we went to the embassy. The embassy submitted our application. Open is something that would be in a week time. So later we were told we have to wait for 3 months. After 3 months, we went there with the embassy staff. They said we have to wait for another 3 months. So we are going all up and down with the embassy to fast track our process, but it wasn't easy.
So Peter,
Yeah.
since we're on that track now that you're in Rabat, and I think that one of the best ways that the people who are on this lecture right now could learn from you is for them to be able to ask you some questions. So just so everyone knows, when Peter's talking about going to Rabat, Morocco, they went in June. He was Lisa Hannigan international humanitarian scholar from Mission Brain. And this was a partnership that I think I mentioned with the Ministry of Health and the University of Sierra Leone teaching hospitals. So if I may, Peter, because I think a lot of people are curious about and they have a lot of questions. I'd like to open up the question and answer since we've covered your journey from your passion to be able to go into neurosurgery despite the fact that there just didn't seem to be any avenue for a young guy like you who was very interested in neurosurgery in Sierra Leone. And now you've made this journey from that point to where you are right now in Rabat. How many more years do you have left in training?
I still have 4 more years to go.
4 more years. That's amazing.
Yes.
I think that it's quite something to have that number, despite, considering where you started from. That's remarkable, and I congratulate you on your perseverance on that. Anyone else has a question? Open up the questions now for everybody. Please feel free to ask any questions to Dr. Bangura. It's a perfect opportunity. Questions from anyone? I think there was also some discussion. Was it Timothy regarding Dr. Joseph? Do you want to talk about a little bit about your comment about superstition and neurosurgical pathologies and your experience in Uganda?
Yeah, thank you so much, April. You can hear me?
Loud and clear, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you so much, Doc, for this elaborate presentation. Yeah, really, as the LMI says, mainly this side in Africa, we face quite a number of such issues, mainly bent on the other side of superstition. And we have seen many pathologies, many pediatric pathologies really linked to such myths. For example, like what you were saying, the encephalocele, spina bifida. We have quite a number of spina bifida patients. At least every week I operate on like 3 spina bifida patients. So sometimes actually you can get patients of 1 year. This year, actually this week itself, we received a 12-year-old male with an occipital encephalocele. They were trying to go through all the elders within the village, trying to get cure for the entire 12 years. Yeah, right now it's really a mess. It's like he has 2 heads because the encephalocele is quite huge. So we normally really get such patients, and it's more common in the pediatric patients.
And the kid is
Patients
12
with
years old now?
Yeah, one of the kids right now we have on ward is 12 years old with untreated occipital encephalocele. They have been at home for all that time trying to visit elders in the village. So here in Africa, sometimes people try to visit elders in the village
Right.
with hope that they have cure to whatever pathology they have. And also I think there are things about sensitization, because one of the patients I worked on 2 twins this week with the spina bifida cystica, and they were delivered. They were 2 months old, so they were delivered in the peripheral facility, and they were told that this problem can be worked on after 2 months, and these were health workers. So even amongst us and the lower cadres, some may not really know the definitive management of these conditions. So
Right. Yeah.
those are some of the things, that are really common, even this side. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Joseph Mayer is also Lisa Hannigan's scholar from Uganda, also working with Mission Brain. Dr. Q, you have a question.
Thank you, April. And first of all, thank you, Peter, so much. Pleasure to hear you. And I'm sorry that my camera was off. I was actually multitasking, filling another few phone calls here and there for some clinical activities that I have ongoing. But I guess my question for you, Peter, as you look back at your journey and the challenges that you have faced and the challenges that you continue to face, how can an organization like Mission Brain and the leadership of people like April, myself, and others here on the screen can help you better, but can help you better so we can help more people in places where there is an unmet need? What are the 1, 2, or 3 things that are realistic that we could possibly do to help you and help others more?
Yes, thank you for the question, Mr. Alfredo. To render a good service in neurosurgery is not a one-man's work. It is a teamwork. And so even if I got the best training in the world and return home, if they are no good proper, if they are no good trained nurses, if they are no good trained auxiliary staff and to aid in the caregiving of the patient, if there are no instrument to use to deliver good services, it will be extremely difficult for me to function. So one of the ways Mission Brain can help me directly or indirectly is one a continuous medical education, especially the staff, the nurses at home. Is the nurses at home because neurosurgery evolve almost every 5 years. There are new there are new technology and there are new approaches to instrument. We need instrument. It could be basic, it could be complex. All of them are very useful in the care given. And the last one is the continuous support towards me in terms of materials such as books, maybe if possible to do external rotation, because in this place you can do external rotation for 1 year to see how things are done in another country, to have a broader spectrum, so that when I return, I'll be well equipped to manage the many cases.
Great. Wonderful, Peter.
Thank you.
Q?
Peter. Can I just say one thing, April? Once again, just listen to you, Peter, saying these things, and sometimes we tend to think that what we need to do is super complex, but we don't realize that it is complex in the sense that they make a huge difference in human lives. But at the essence, you ask for resources, you ask for books, you ask for things that would allow you to do what you do, and help many more people. So no matter how complex it may sound, there is a simplicity behind your requests that allow us to dream of a better world. And I see so many people here on the screen, people who have supported us, actually. People like Richard Uline right here is just amazing and inspiring. I do it on purpose. I ask you those questions so people can hear how much there is an amazing need in the world to do things that are not necessarily super complex, but can change lives. So thank you. Thank you for allowing us to dream with you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Q. Garrett, you have a question?
Yes, Dr. Q stole my thunder for my first question, but I do have a follow-up question. And this is more geared towards you and Dr. Q, April. What kind of infrastructure do we need to have a self-sustaining residency program in a country like Sierra Leone? And how close are we to achieving that? And what do we need to do moving forward to achieve something more self-sustaining?
Q, you want to answer that for first, or
You go ahead, April. You've been thinking about this. You were there not long ago and interact with a lot of people. I think that you're becoming an expert on this. So go ahead, April, please.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert. We're all learning at the same process here, but I think really the important thing, Garrett, I think that we're learning from this because Sierra Leone has become a very important partner in this project in terms of in the future, learning from the experience in Sierra Leone, using this as a jump up point for a replicable model that we can apply to many other countries in the same situation as Sierra Leone. Really, one of the key things is to have this partnerships with the Ministry of Health and the university. We have to think about pipelines as well. So Peter and Aliyu are working very hard individually in terms of getting their training, but we also have to think about what the pipeline looks like, who are the people that are going to come after him. And when you talk about residency, that starts with students, right? Undergrad, medical students. So one of the more poignant experiences that we had when we were there the first time was when we gave a talk during grand rounds, and there were students there. Literally after we left, the students ran after us and asked how they could participate. So as Peter so eloquently talked about his passion, that he had met so many obstacles, we have to start taking away some of these obstacles for the students to be able to follow in that road that they've already traversed. So we have a chapter in Sierra Leone. I think you are very much involved with helping them learn how to do research, how to collect data, all these things. We need to collect data so we can have a good argument as to why we're doing these things, and then we can measure what we're doing so that we know that we're in the right track or whether we need to pivot to something else. So really, that's education of those that are also following, right? The pipeline for that residency. And then we have scholarships that are made available to continue the mentorship. So it's not a lift just for Mission Brain. It's a partnership in the true sense of the word with the university, who are really also been driving this a lot, and the Ministry of Health. There has to be buy-in from everyone. And really, that's also part of what we look for when we engage with a country. Do the people there want it for themselves? Because we come as guests, we come as partners, and not necessarily impose what we think would be the best way to go about things, right? So yeah, that's how we built this long-term engagement, long-term relationship, because we do have an endpoint for Sierra Leone, and that's when we hand off ownership of all that we're doing to the Sierra Leonean people. And then leaders like Peter and Aliyu can continue in that trajectory.
Can
So I
I,
hope that answers your question.
may I just add one little thing? Garrett, your question is perfect. You know, and April and I, as you know, when we first started Mission Brain, we were the two people who came from countries that were less privileged than the United States. And part of our discipline from the get-go was always Mission Brain is not going to other parts of the world telling people what or how to do anything. Our discipline has always been we go there to share our knowledge and to learn from our colleagues from around the world. And where we can do things, Garrett, to influence, and I think April said it beautifully, the change has to come from within. All we are going to do there is we are guests, as April said. We go there to hopefully spark a small fire that will take over and will continue to change. You know, and I always go back to this story when I was about 6 or 7 years old in Mexico. And I saw the first group of Americans coming to my small farming community where we had about 40 families. And one day they landed there and they start building latrines. Remember, outhouses, which is what I grew up as a kid. And I was so inspired by the fact that they would work all day, and at the end of the day, they would play with us as little kids. And I saw that as a source of inspiration and allowed me to dream of one day also being able to do something. And that's what we do. We are very blessed to be able to work with Peter, to work with so many of you around the world. For us, it's a privilege, it's a gift. So what do we need from you, Garrett? What do we need from people like Emiliano, from other here, from Mission Brain, is to continue to help us. You know, build resources, build the infrastructure, all the stuff that you guys are doing around the world through artificial intelligence, research, mentoring, clinical works, missions, you name it. Every single piece matters. Every single one of us is a piece of a much larger puzzle, and we will continue to do the work together.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Thank you. Giovanni, you have your hand up. You have a question?
Yes. So I was basically just gonna say, so my name is Giovanni. I'm a recent college graduate and I've yet to enter medical school. And I think seeing the work that you do is really inspiring for me because it gives me perspective. So someone from the United States, my parents are from Mexico. I feel like I never really heard of a situation like Sierra Leone since I joined Mission, ever since, I mean, before I joined Mission Brain is what I'm trying to say here. And I agree. I do think that community education is something that can help not just some of the patients, but I think also the people around them that are kind of supporting them, right? Figures like teach them about brain disorders or even, I don't know, try to teach them to be more careful about traumatic brain injury. I think it could be a great way through Mission Brain to get students involved who are interested in the field ultimately. And I guess where my question comes into play is how does telemedicine come, like, do you guys use telemedicine? Like, do you get consultations from other neurosurgeons around the world? that's kind of where I'm going.
Peter, I think I can answer. Peter is still training at Rabat and fully immersed in the residency. If the question is about telemedicine with our partners in Sierra Leone, one of the biggest challenges is internet connectivity, right? So Peter's nodding his head vigorously because he knows this from firsthand experience, and he's smiling. Um, so sometimes that's one thing we also take for granted in high resource countries, right? So people often talk about, oh, telemedicine could help all these issues because, you could just dial in to a doctor somewhere, like an expert like Dr. Q, and ask him, how do we do these things? Um, but we don't consider that for a lot of the low middle income countries, that infrastructure might not even be available. So right now, it's not feasible because the internet connection in Sierra Leone and a lot of countries in Africa is unreliable, So that has been our experience even with our training of the nurses that we trained in Sierra Leone. So the way that we do it now is we have constant communications. You guys talk to us via WhatsApp. The doctors too. So Dr. Kamara, who's in Sierra Leone already practicing, talks to Dr. Han and to all of us here at HQ and asks for advice if he needs it. But we're also scheduling actual physical trips because that's not a feasible option. And also, again, the physical presence of our team also, I think, provides a lot of value in terms of continuing training and mentorship. One value of in-person engagement is also to be able to see the entire hospital system and where the gaps lie, which you won't necessarily see in telemedicine. So for example, you might say, well, make sure the patient gets an x-ray post-op, right? But if you don't understand that the x-ray technician there might not have ever experienced a spine case before, so you're not going to be able to anticipate, say, well, make sure that transport knows how to transport, or the x-ray technician does not remove the cervical collar, things like that, that for new practitioners are probably not in front of their minds to think about. And for those of us who have very well-established systems, take for granted. All right. Any other questions? Oh, there's a question from Paula. Peter, for you.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, she said, if you have, with your example, have you seen young doctors or medical students wanting to become part of the next generation of neurosurgeons in Sierra Leone?
I think since the time I was there, they are doctors, they are young doctors that wants to be a surgeon. But because some of them are afraid because there is no basic foundation to start on. And some of them, when you talk to them, they will tell you they won't be the first people to suffer to lay the foundation. But I'm sure with Mission Brain and Camera presently at the ground, I'm sure there are few doctors that will have developed the interest in neurosurgery.
Right. Thanks, Peter. Any other questions, everyone? So we're at our hour mark. If there are no more questions from anyone, Fatu, would you like to say a few words while you're here?
Hi, everyone. No, I think Peter got it. Yeah, I came at the tail end of the presentation. Sorry, post call, but it seemed like the questions that I heard were all very good questions, and it seemed like Peter and you guys all had a good presentation.
Dr. Conte, just for everyone to know, is a Sierra Leone American neurosurgical resident at Loma Linda here in California, and she was basically the most important liaison that we had between Sierra Leone and advocating for Sierra Leone, and with Mission Brain and the other international entities. So she's been I think an irreplaceable and very important partner in this whole process. So again, thank you everyone for being here. Richard Uline, thank you for being here with us this morning. It's quite a pleasure to have someone here and you can understand what the work that we're doing as well. Peter, we thank you so much for your time and we wish you all the best continuing your amazing work in Rabat.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye. Thank you so much.